Good morning everybody, it's Chris here at Blue Rhino Safaris. Let's have a quick look at my Kaokoland tour at this point for 2022 and going out early next year. We expect in 2022 the COVID crisis to be more or less under control and traveling to be a little bit easier. I've traveled since May of 2021 internationally, actually in March already, and we could already do it with a little bit of intelligence applied. So I think by 2022 things will be a lot better. So I often get the request for Van Zyl's Pass. When can we do it? Can you do it with us? And this tour specifically is not a Van Zyl's Pass tour, but it does include Van Zyl's Pass. So if we go to the map itself, then this is the section that we focus on. If you draw a line from Windhoek horizontally, then you basically have the Damaraland area down in the south and the Kaokoland area up in the north. So this tour is the Kaokoland going into Damaraland, down to Swakop and then out again. So the trip itself is focused to be a little bit of Kunene River, a little bit of 4x4 driving, not serious, fairly straightforward, Van Zyl's Pass, the Marine Flus and all of the rest. Added into that a little bit of Etosha and then a bit of Swakop Moon to finish off with, and it makes for a very nice tour itself. So as I say, normally I would put Van Zyl's Pass off every second year so that we can do something else. This year we did Skeleton Coast. Next year we are back into Kaokoland / Van Zyl's Pass. So it's on the website for April of 2022. Why April? Well, it's still green in 2020 in April after the rainy season, and it makes for a very nice tour of the area with greenery still around. So it's not a dry, dusty tour. It's slightly greener than that. The itinerary is on there. It's a 14 or 15 night tour. You can have a look at the itinerary itself, but basically it follows as such. I'm going from Gauteng, and therefore I will probably be driving through Botswana. Now PCR tests at the moment are still required for traveling into other countries, and what I try to do on my trips is to skip through countries that we don't need to travel into. So we're not doing anything in Botswana except for traveling through to cut the distance, and therefore at this point I think I will be going through Botswana with one PCR test to get into Namibia. So one night in Botswana going in, maybe one night in Botswana coming out. Otherwise, if I don't want to go through Botswana coming back, I will probably go down to Fjellsdrift, Armslay, one of those border posts, and come straight back into South Africa. Then I don't need to do a PCR test in Windhoek. Those are details that we'll sort out. It's still a year from now, so it's details that we'll sort out when we get there. But that is the basics of it. So I'm traveling from Gauteng. Our first night for me would be Trans-Kalahari Highway, and that would mean that we sleep in Botswana. Second night I travel through to Windhoek, and you can then join me. If you come from the Cape, it's easy to drive up to Windhoek, meet me in Windhoek, and we sleep our second night in Windhoek. That's really where the trip will start. From there we travel up to the Etosha National Park, and we sleep 2 nights just outside of the park. I prefer to sleep outside of the park. I'm not a big fan of the campsites in the park, but we go in as day visitors. So we spend the day in Etosha. I show you what Etosha is all about. We come out, we sleep outside for the second night as well. Then we drive around Etosha up to Ruakana, and driving past the falls, filling our vehicles with fuel, and then sleeping a night next to the Kunene River on the Ruakana area. Then we do the 4x4 route, the Kunene 4x4 route, which is not a 4x4 route as such at the moment. It depends on the rainy season, but it's very much a gravel road, so it can be done in a day. And we travel up to the Ipupa Falls, where we sleep for 2 nights. Gives us a nice rest day, give you time for a bit of activities, maybe for a lunch, something like that. Then from Ruakana, from Ipupa Falls, we go down to do a bit of shopping, make sure we have everything that we need, and then up to Van Zyl's Pass. We sleep just before the pass to give ourselves the best time to do the pass the next day. because the pass is really a nice experience. It's something very unique, very special. We will leave the day to do that. So the next day we travel down Van Zyls Pass and into the Marienfluss for a night. Very nice area again to drive in, and it might be green when we get there, which is quite spectacular if you find it like that. From the Marienfluss we drive down towards the Puros area, Orupembe, all the way down until we get to Puros. And then depending on the weather conditions, if it's very rainy, flash floody at the moment, then we might not do the riverbeds. But if it's decent, and it should be at the end of April, then we can drive 1 or 2 riverbeds, look for some elephants, lions in the Sesfontein Puros area. When we pop out ultimately close to Sesfontein, maybe go for lunch at Fort Sesfontein, fill our vehicles, and then travel further south. Further south we will head ultimately down to Swakopmund, but before we get there we will visit Twyfelfontein. Twyfelfontein is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with the etchings that they have there, so that's included. We go into Twyfelfontein, and we have a guided tour of the etchings there. It's very interesting. If you haven't seen it, it's really worth doing it. And then from there we travel down to Enties Bay, from Enties Bay to Swakopmund, and we sleep our last night at Swakopmund. Now I end the tour there because many people would say that they enjoy the area and they would like to spend a few days at Swakop, and that's perfectly cool. Lovely restaurants, nice town, nice campsite, and that would be the end of the trip. If, like me, you have to work and you need to get back to Joburg, then the next day I will head all the way through to the edge of the Botswana border, if we come via Botswana. If not, I will head down to the southern South African border and go straight into South Africa in that way. So the end of the tour, getting back into South Africa, will all depend on COVID issues and what the border's requirements are. So we will pick the easiest, simplest way to get back, and we will make our way back from there. So if I come back via Botswana, I'll sleep just before the Botswana border, and then the next day we'll see what we do. I will probably head back to Joburg. I can get back to Joburg from there. If not, we'll sleep somewhere on the Trans-Kalahari highway again in Botswana. And that's it for the Kaokoland tour. So included for 2022 is Van Zyls Pass, Ipapa Falls, the Kunene River, 4x4 section, the Marienfluss, some of the rivers near Puros, and very nice scenery. So if you have any questions, please ask me. Otherwise, get your booking in. I already have people booked on this trip, so don't delay. You need to get your booking in. I will take normally a maximum of 6 vehicles. It makes for a nice group. More than that becomes a little bit too much to get down Van Zyls. So I'm looking at about 6 vehicles maximum, with about 12 people on the trip. So if you're interested, please let me know urgently. Let's get the booking done. 2022 is going to be a year of celebrating survival of COVID for those of us that did survive. So we're going to celebrate life in 2022 because we will be past 2021 and the bulk of the COVID problems. So we're going to focus on living and the fun of life and why we are on this planet and enjoying what we can enjoy. So yeah, join 2022 with me on one of my tours. If this one suits you, then please book for it. Otherwise, have a great day. Stay safe. Your health is in your own hands, so please be responsible. Otherwise, have a good day. Cheers. Bye.